Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Anime Vanguards video. And today we'll be probably going over the best units to use in this game. From like each category, so like from epic to legendary to mythic. And before we start, I'll already not be including rares because you can already get past rares. Come on, it's rares, come on. And also, I will not be including Alucard for the sole purpose that he is very exclusive, being a 0.04 or 0.004 on the banner. So you can't really get him. I will not be including him, but to be honest, he's probably the best secret out of the two. But Eagers isn't horrible, from my experience. So let's get right into this. Alright, so first off, we're gonna start at the epic. The first one is gonna be Alligator. Alligator is very useful for the fact that his passive, or his ability, applies slow. He's the only unit in the game that applies slow so far, so he's a very valuable unit to have. He's like a 500 600 placement. Yeah, right here, 550. Not horrible, pretty good for what we have right now, but I guarantee the moment we get a decent, like a mythic slow, he's gonna get replaced immediately. Next up, we have another unit. We're just gonna go down here. Blossom. She is very useful for the new raid that's coming out, Act 4, which is very important. So you can actually get your Rengoku. Your 1% Rengoku. And what she does, she cleanses. When she reaches level 3, she has an ability that allows her to cleanse all allies in her range, which is pretty nice. The only cleanse in the game, so once another cleanse comes out, it's can get replaced. And here's one that you must get. This is one that everyone should have. Spirit Wagon. Spirit Wagon, a good old farm. The first farm in this game, giving you estimate of giving you a pretty decent amount of money. I mean, is a must-have. Obviously, you have to have a farm, or else you can't place these units and upgrade them. Speaking of farms, we're going to move on to the legendaries, and we have Takarada. I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure. But he is another farm. Now he's a much different farm because with the spirit wagons you can place multiple of him. However, with him you can only place only one. So 3 of these and 1 of these. Also, he is much more expensive. Like his updates get to like over 10 grand, while these only get to like 3 grand max. But he gives so much more money, like triple the amount these guys are. So, in certain, like, when I play certain things, I like to bring both. I wouldn't really see a stage where you'd only bring him, unless it's like Paragon, where it gives you a good amount of money each round. So either bring both, or just bring Spirit Wagon. It depends how much money the waves will give you. And that's really it for the legendaries. I mean, no, all I'm gonna say is, legendaries are still valuable. You can play the entire story, I guess. You can play Dynamic, Sand Village, and Double Dungeon with just legendary characters. I'm just saying that they aren't really as valuable as this guy. That being, well, some of them are just They just get outclassed by mythics. Well, they should. It's mythics. Now let's go through the mythics. I'm gonna rate them through worst to best. And the worst one, I gotta sadly put it to Naruto. Naruto, man, he got nerfed hardcore. Like half his passages got ate up. Sucks because I already have him maxed out. And Solar, I mean, his passage got ate up. After not attacking for 6 seconds, minus 5 SPS to 15, this is like so much more. And then damage each attack up to 36. Again, got ate up. He was like the best mythic, now he's like the worst. Which is funny because the worst mythic originally just became the best mythic. More on that later. Now I'm only doing ones that I have used, so I think it's either Obito and Sasuke. It's probably the next worst. Speaking how I'm gonna put Sasuke a little bit ahead because he's the only person in this game that stuns. Minus Kakashi, which is a epic unit, so not really much competition there. And Obito burns. I think that's what his passage just does. Yeah, minus 3 SPA up to 12, and then burns. Only after upgrade 8. With him costing as much as a secret unit does, I mean, it's kind of a lot for a little bit of burn where Rengoku burns by himself. Next up we got Akaza. I'm pretty sure, from what I've seen, or I think because how I like him, he's just decently slow. I don't really think his upgrades are really worth the time of playing compared to other characters like Jinwoo or Cha-In. And his passive is reduces time of status elements by 33%, damage plus 11% for each attack received up by up to 33%. So it'll go up by 33% attack and status element lower. When he reaches upgrade level 8, grants the ability Compass Needle, damage and range plus 33%, and it needs a stun while this needle is activated. So again, not the worst, but his upgrades, man, they're just eh. This doesn't really seem too interesting from all the videos I have seen, because I don't really want to roll or work on a character that isn't that good. Seeing how rares and seeing how trait rerolls are scarce. Next up, we got ourselves Cha-In. Cha-In is a very, very good unit, especially for the new boss. Seeing how she gets increased crit rate, crit damage. Crit rate, crit damage. And more crit rate when she's attacking a boss, so up to 35% on just a boss alone. And she has a 100% chance to dodge an attack, so you know, the stun that he does on you, yeah, she just dodged that. And inflicts an extra instance of damage after perfecting the dodge equals 65% of her damage. So again, pretty good. And you can place 5 of her down. She's the only unit I think you can place down 5 of. Definitely a mythic. I was really thinking of what to put next on my favorites, because Jinwoo, I mean, Jinwoo is just great. He's probably my best character. He's probably my best character from traits and stats. But I really love Tengen. I'll just go over both because I can't really rate. It's really hard for me to rate them together. But right now, currently, I use Tengen far more. So I guess I'll just put Tengen over Jinwoo. And Jinwoo does is increases damage up to 40% per takedown he does, and it goes up by 0.1. It's gonna take you a while to get there. When he reaches upgrade 8, you're gonna see the ability called Arise. We all know what Arise should do if you've seen the show. But basically, for each enemy he has killed, he can bring back up to 40 shadows. Killing enemies adds them to a shadow army up to 40 enemies. So you can have 40 enemies you just kill, right? Along with the fact that Araya summons 15 shadows and 5 shadow knights. So you can have up to 60 shadows. And these things are like pretty beefy. And also down here, this part isn't really important just for himself. It kind of is. Upgrade 8 increases damage by 2.5% for each shadow defeats whenever a shadow defeats an enemy, up to 25%. Now this works for him and Egris, so they have a great combo together. So yeah, this does work with him. So he can potentially have up to a 65% increase of damage. And his attacks aren't horrible. Seeing that he has a multi-hit first. Again, he's definitely one of my favorites overall. But right now, I am using Tengen a lot more. Tengen just dropped on the recent update, 0.5 Demon Slayer update, and I have been using him for basically everything. Especially the boss. Especially the boss and also the raids, because he does more damage in there. Seeing how he does so much, he even has a fully elite, which is quite rare. It's like one of the, is he like the only mythic that has a fully elite? Maybe, I'm not sure. Anyway, his passive increases damage and range by 10% and increases dodge chance by 3% when every attack he performs, up to 60%. So on the boss, he'll have a max of 60% chance to dodge his stun. Pretty good. Let's see. Damn. And he also does 10% more damage for each consecutive attack on a same enemy, up to 30%. And minus 2 SPA when for each attack performed. Minus 30% SPA. Minus 30% SPA is insane. That is a huge amount. So you're already getting so much damage. Like 60% and then potentially up to 90% damage increase, if I'm seeing this correctly. 60% to dodge and 30% minus SPA. And he already has like a 6.9 second SPA, what I have right now. That is crazy. He just does so much. Just compares to units that originally came out with the game compared to units after the first update. Now, the greatest mythic in the game, I feel like, my main man Vegeta. Oh wait, Vegeta. Yep. This man has been through a whole lot. All the way from this man has been through a lot, right? He was originally the worst mythic in the game because of the fact that he cost 1,800. If you look down here, that is more than Jin Woo. That's like that would be the second highest mythic cost in the game. Along with the fact that half his passive is kind of not that well, it's kind of iffy. Because it's 20% minus SPA when he's by himself in his range. Problem is, you can't have a slow, nor can you have a buffer, which I'll get to eventually. So, and increase 100% damage when you're hitting one enemy. That's very specific. That's very, very, very specific. However, now seeing on the fact that he is now the greatest opening character, because like turn 2, 3, I already have him down, and he hits pretty hard, and minus SPA, and he's And his first attack isn't a one-hit, it's multi-hit, so that's amazing for stages. So yeah, he jumped up great. This man had a great glow up. Just so you, it doesn't matter how many updates you have to do to someone, they can just become the best, even if it takes like 8. He got so changed. Now I'll be going through the secrets and the exclusives. Now the first the first secret is gonna be Egress. Egress right here. Egress you can get from, I finally got after so long. And he's pretty good, right? Problem is, his attacks suck. Most of them. He actually has a full AoE, so that's pretty nice. However, most of his attacks just suck. How every hit, everything that except his last attack is a one hit. So it only attacks once. Minus the first one. It's a line, so although it's a very short line. His range isn't the best, but again, his final attack's full AoE, perfect. Because not really many units have that. And his passive, he also got nerfed too, which is wild. Seeing how this was originally 45, now it's only 25. 30% damage, plus 30% damage and minus 5 SPA. Minus 10 SPA, my bad. Maybe, I don't know how this was nerfed, but he's immune to stun as well. Which, I know now, like, he's immune to this boss's stun, because I've actually used him in trying to see which is better between Tengen and him, and I think like Tengen is much better because he's cheaper, so I can upgrade more units. And finally, Vanguards passive, damage plus 20% and range plus 10% for 100 seconds after shadows enter his range. Now the shadows being from Jinwoo, which remember, in his passive, he also increases Egress's attack by 25% as well. Now originally this combo was really well, worked amazingly, because Jinwoo's past ability, Arise, happened every minute. Now it happens every 135 seconds. Meaning you can't fully use the passive or combine passive together, seeing how this is 100 seconds. So this man got nerfed. Sad, I didn't even get to use him with pre-nerf. But still, a pretty strong unit. Seeing how he hits for, it's like one of the hardest hitting units in the game. It's just he's a little expensive for his skills. Now I'll just give a brief explanation about this Alucard. He's amazing. Potentially my favorite unit in this game. I won't go over that much because, well, yeah. Basically, he applies bleeding, deals 20% of the unit's damage. Enemies that enter the unit's range while bleeding are affected with wounding, which is another debuff which increases their damage taking by 25%, by 20%. When he's upgrading when he's at level 2 upgrades, he gets a line multi-hit. So his first upgrade, when you just place him down, it's a single hit line. Then it becomes a multi-hit line, then it becomes a full AoE, then it becomes a dot multi-hit, and then it becomes a full AoE at level 10. But when he reaches level 11, max amount, he gets an ability called Restraint Level 0. Which, what does it do? Well, when he uses it, ghouls, so basically ghouls will spawn kind of how Jinwoo's Arise works. But the thing is, these guys are much weaker, 1,000 to 6,000, so not really that strong. But we're not really worried about that. What we're worried about is, for as long as they're alive, it increases his SPA by 10%. And these things spawn at the very end of the map, like your base. So it's gonna take them a while to get to the enemies. So you're getting that minus 10 SPA for a good bit. And let's just say when they do make it and they die, it increases your damage by 1% up to 35% damage. Absolutely huge amount. And I can get him up with Deadeye, which, remind you, doesn't increase damage. I can get him up to about 11,000. Not as much as Egress, but does definitely a lot more than Egress. I just prefer him a lot more for farming, and I just prefer him much more than Egress. Now, things being said, if I had a Monarch on Egress, the whole question would be out of the water. If I had a Monarch on anybody, the whole question would be out of the water. Well, maybe not everybody. You have a Monarch on this Roku. Because I'm lucky like that. And then finally, the secrets, which the secrets are kind of disappointing. Minus her. So, Akara Ren is the only buffer this game has to offer. Given how she increases units that are in her range, increases plus 30% damage per wave that passes for units in range, up to 18%. So 6 waves to pass, you'll get up to max 18% for units in her range, which her range isn't the best. And once 6 waves pass, range plus 10% for all units in her range, which I think this is consistent. So I think that stacks. That second part stacks, not the first one. Also, you can place 2 of her, and no, the passes do not stack on each other, as sad. I wish it did. And last, but certainly not least, we have Ran Goku, the secret from the newest update. And I'll be honest, he's pretty good. As you see, I got a plus C on him. I'm pretty happy about that. Now I will say, he's pretty decent. I'm not my favorite, but he's not horrible. What he does is he inflicts burn, which is, besides Obi-Toge's, is the only unit that really burns, minus maybe some like rare unit or something, I don't know. Or actually, I think, Itachi burns. Yeah, he burns. But not many units burn in this game. He's one of the very few that do. So he inflicts burn, equals 30% of his damage. Increases damage by 5% for increases damage by 5% for each consistent attack done to the same enemy by up to 20%. Up to 20%. Yep. But when he reaches level 11, increases burn damage by 50% of damage. Enemies hit by attacks, they are inflicted with purgatory flames, which makes them receive 25% more damage from burn. So again, pretty good. He does not reach full AoE. He does not have a full AoE, but he's pretty good. I'm glad I got him. I'm really glad I got him. Because then I have every unit this game has to offer. So that's my recommendations on units you should probably get for this game to make your life easier. And you actually be able to get a pretty good game. Now, Now those are the units that I recommend that you get so you can play the game. But obviously not recommend, I wouldn't really worry about these four. I mean, these are good. You get her from the pass right here, level 30, which you play for a couple days, you'll get level 30 and get her. But this comes from banner, this comes like a very late stage, and this comes from the raid, so it's very hard. So the units I recommend getting are Vegeta, Tangen, both farms, Alligator, Blossom if you're worried about that one, and maybe Cha in, I guess Cha in, yeah. Okay, now that is the end of the video. I hope this gave you a little help in what character you should be working on and such. Now these are all evolved units, so you gotta definitely grind yourself some stars for these units. Because basically when you evolve the unit, they basically get an extra part of their passive, which you need. And more skills, more attacks. With that, I hope you guys have enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment down below, and subscribe for more. I'll see you guys again in the next Roblox video. Peace.